Mark, pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I mean, as I said to you when we were walking down to this location here, seems that coming back to EFI, or the EFI family is probably the better word, is, I mean, you're being appraised from stage today, right?
Well, it was a lot of fun to be back here. This is my 22nd Connect. We started it back in 1999, and so thankfully last year I didn't miss it because they didn't have we weren't able to have it, so I haven't missed any Connects yet, and so it's great to be back. I wasn't expecting to be here this year for this one. But,
and in that perspective, I think that to a lot of people, including the media and including ourselves, like last week when it was announced that the productivity software was sold off to Symphony and now is called eProductivity. I mean, that is one of the reasons why you're here, right?
Yeah. Yes, and I was, as I mentioned on stage today, I was very excited to hear about what the plans were with Symphony when they told me that they were interested in purchasing it. And you never know with private equity what their strategy is going to be for acquiring it. But because they didn't have anything in the space and it was their first acquisition, and it was really an opportunity for them to buy it and invest in it, because again, as part of EFI, it's a huge company, and so there's a lot of other stuff that EFI needs to invest in, including building those inkjet printers that take a lot of money to bring to market.
Yeah, because it's more. I mean, if you develop software, that's also expensive, but it's more like it's a known space to some extent, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
And just before we continue, you've just been appointed as executive chairman of the board for eProductivity, right?
Yes.
And I asked a question before we started filming. The executive part means that you have an active role, right?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, as opposed to a normal chairman of the board who oversees the board meetings and just gets reports, my goal as executive chairman is to work with Gabby and help on strategy and on both organic and inorganic plans for the group to look for ways to grow and to where we should focus on in the future.
Is it a secret when you started talking to the people about getting this job, or?
Well, I mean, it was during the sale process. So
you knew it a little bit sooner than the rest of us.
Exactly. Basically. I was helping them with the diligence. So I had started a consulting company just for my own consulting when I left EFI a year and a half ago or so. And so I met with Symphony and agreed to assist them with the diligence process. And as part of that, we had a discussion about whether a further role would make sense for me. And
it seems that it did, right?
Well, yeah, and the more I learned about what their plans were, and then I saw Gabby was committed to sticking around, and others were going to still be there. It seemed like a fun idea.
One of the reasons why I was asking you was because I was thinking that when you have been with EFI for so many years, and then you step out of the company, you have a new role, and you see your old company a little bit from the outside. For me, it makes a lot of sense to split the company this way. Did you see it the same way? I mean, before you knew the details about how it was going to take place?
Yeah, I mean, I always had figured that that Cirrus would sell off the software likely separate from the other businesses because it is software businesses are a little different than the rest, and I think it has a great opportunity to grow on its own when it is the sole focus of the company, and you can look at investment just within the context of the software part of the business.
Marc Olin, who are you as a person?
Who am I as a person? Well, I've been a number of things, but mostly I've been software and business of different sorts for the last 35 years. As I mentioned, I started the software business with another gentleman back in 1987, 86, 87, and and grew it and combined together with some other companies in the late 90s, started Print Cafe, and then sold that to EFI in 2003. And from there, I basically did whatever Guy Gecht asked me to do, who was the CEO during almost my entire tenure at EFI. So,
and we already spoke about that you are a passionate golfer, right? What about family and all those kind of things? Is that also? Do you have time for that at all, or?
Yes, I have a lovely wife at home named Jill, who's back in Pittsburgh now, freezing cold in the snow. And two very cute dogs, but no kids. But that's on the.
It's on the radar, or
no. That's I'm far too old for that.
Okay,
yes,
okay,
but yes, maybe some more dogs. We'll see if my wife has her way. There'll be some more dogs.
The reason why I'm asking is because I think that a lot of what defines us as humans are, of course, the combination of what we do in our spare time and what we do in our work. Popularly called the work-life balance. And I was just thinking that you, as a person, it must also. Maybe putting words in your mouth, but it defines also how you see the values in your work, right?
Yes, I mean, I never viewed work as really a separate thing. I think you have to,
I feel the same way totally.
Yeah, for me, it's you have to love what you do, or at least like it a great deal, even if you don't love it.
Yeah.
But for you to be successful, and for me, it's because I left EFI a year and a half ago. I was not intending to come back, and the only reason I took this role is because it looked like something that I would really enjoy, and it's all about the people more than anything, and I like the Gabby and the people that work for the software group and the customers who I've known for many, many years.
Yeah. So. When I listened to the keynote this morning with Jeff Jacobson. It seems very clear that for EFI and for Fiery, it seems that there's still a huge growth potential, right? But I see there's maybe an even bigger growth potential for the eProductivity kind, because right now we see that software and workflow automation and e-commerce and all those kind of things become even more important to the PSPs and the converters, right?
Yes, yeah, and it's we certainly think software is a key thing for people to use to succeed in the industry as it gets more competitive. You have the supply chain challenges going on that all of our customers are dealing with today. You're competing with other media, so you have to continuously get more efficient at what it is you do so that you can be more competitive, not just against other people in the industry, but against electronic media and other types of delivery of advertising. So, so we feel software will continue to be more important. But, it's difficult for a company when you're selling machines for millions of dollars, you're selling software for much less than that. Where are you going to put your dollars? It's difficult to invest in both simultaneously as a private company.
And that is a little bit, I don't know if it's a surprise, because as you said, Fiery was the core business of EFI for many, many years, but Fiery could have been an eProductivity product, right?
Well, it's a very different type of product because it's Fiery, with a few exceptions, is very rarely ever sold separate from a printer.
It's always with the OEMs.
It's really bundled with a printer. It's either bundled with the EFI printers or it's bundled with one of the partner printers from Xerox, Canon, Konica Minolta, Ricoh, Kia Ceramita. And so it's a very different sale process. You're not selling directly to end customers, and so the software business, it's all about that direct relationship with the end customers.
But some of the relations that you obviously know also from the Fiery business, since you've been many years with the EFI, I take that some of the business models you could actually adapt into the eProductivity kind of business as well, or is that a wrong assumption?
I mean, there's certainly we have different ways of purchasing the software today. Not really, click charge based certainly, but there's essentially term licenses where you're paying for it over time and things of that sort, or subscriptions. But it's really a very different model from the from selling equipment.
Yeah. So when you look at, because of course, there's always a cost to something. So when the company was split and there was like a price for Symphony to acquire that part of the business, and Symphony has, I read that they have a quite knowledge about running software.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
That's their expertise.
But I was just thinking that because it needs, of course, it needs to pay back the investment, and it needs to be profitable. And shareholders are screaming for return on investment, of course, right? I was just thinking that where do you see the growth potential as a split company?
So, as a split company, again, I think there are areas of investment that Symphony, I think, will be doing into the company.
So there's like synergies between what they do already, or
no. But things where making investment in some of the technology, for example, to accelerate some modernization in product sets that are part of the portfolio that wasn't happening inside of EFI.
Because you said that the development cost needs to be spent rightly.
Exactly, and also other acquisition opportunities. There are other products out there to potentially purchase to bring into the portfolio. I think EFI now has a very good base portfolio where we have these different suites around different segments. I should say eProductivity software, not EFI. But eProductivity software have these suites geared around different segments. As a separate company now, we can find additional technology to layer into those suites. We can look to take pieces of technology and invest in being able to sell them attached to other products like SAP or Oracle that, again, take some investment to get there, but as an independent company, we can justify that investment and the return on that. And so, I'm very excited about where we can take things in the future.
So, Mark, what I understand from you is basically that some of the potential you see is that having eProductivity as a separate entity, basically you can allocate the right resources to focus more on the development of creating even better software, and through that also get more customers and become more valuable, basically.
Exactly, expand, accelerate growth, both organically through investing more internally in the software, but also potentially doing some additional acquisitions and rolling them in. From 2008 to 2016, I think we did about 20 acquisitions in the software business, and just bringing
the fact to
together,
get all that together requires a lot of resources and time, of course.
It does, but the benefit of getting it together, because all of those companies had separate sales teams, separate marketing teams, separate G&A, separate, and so all that overlap there as part of the productivity software umbrella. They can spend much more time focused on just product development without having to worry about all the other stuff that we already have capability for.
You mentioned being an executive chairman is on a strategic level, so you will have a lot of hopefully good discussions with the team to come up with where the future is, right?
Correct. Yeah. That's
how does that fit your mentality and what you like to work with?
Well, I think that's. I wouldn't have come back again if it wasn't something that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's, having been in the industry for 35 years now, you get a chance to reflect upon things we did right and many things that we did wrong over those years, and and look at ways to find the right path going forward.
Short, maybe a little personal question is. When you look back at the 35 years and you look back at when you started, way back, right? Yeah. Have you ever imagined that you would come to this position?
Well, not exactly this way, the way it went down, but we had always.
Have you always been like an ambitious
wanted
person,
to build? The company I started back in the 1980s was started based upon a software project I did at Carnegie Mellon University.
Okay, so did you have hands-on coding from that time?
Oh yeah, I was a software engineer, and so I coded the original. I haven't coded in a long time, but I did the coding back then, and with a couple other guys, and it was from a summer internship I did at Newsweek. Is where I came up with the idea for it, and sold it to Newsweek. And then when I graduated from college, the guy I sold it to at Newsweek had just left the company, and he said, "Do you want to start a company together, and we'll go market this to other companies, and so that's how we.
So that basically means that a programmer cannot come and fool you about it's impossible, or
well, that was a long time ago. So but yes, it's I try to use a little knowledge is dangerous there. So try to.
It's funny. I spoke to a general manager from a software company in the industry as well. And when we got into this path, it actually, it started with a Commodore 64, and it became like really back in the old times where it was home computers that like kind of grew our interest, right?
Yes, it was IBM PC XT was the back in 1982 was what the first application was developed on, and Microsoft Pascal, so it was a long time ago. So that's.
And just think about how because some of the issues that we also have seen during the Connect at this time here is also the workforce development. I think creating interest for young people. And when you say that story, you can't start. You're still that kind of an American dream where you start and you can actually work you into positions like yourself, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's it just takes the right idea and. And just not giving up and dealing with all the stuff that gets thrown at you, and you just keep moving forward and trying to find a solution till you get where you want to get.
Fantastic. Last question. When you look at the work that you now have within eProductivity, is it? You said that maybe you spend 10, 20 hours a week. Is that like what you see? Is that something that you see as always working at that level, or does it come in peaks?
It'll be depending upon, if we're doing some M&A that I get involved in, and probably will go up a little bit, and if we're not, then, probably go down a little bit, that sort of thing. So
the reason I was asking was because I think that, again, if you look at a lot of the companies, I think what the printing industry experienced hefty this year is the fact that change is there's a lot of change going on, right? And I was just thinking, if you look at companies like EFI and some of the other companies in the industry that have become big, they have also become big in a different time, right? Now the time is changing where you need to be really agile. You really need to be on the edge of technology and things like that. Is that something that you can relate to?
Yeah, I think we always, within the software group, certainly, and even, within the rest of EFI, we were known for innovation and trying to get products to market as quickly as possible. That, if you take too long to analyze, by the time you figure out your analysis, the market's already moved on. So so speed to market and finding ways to approach problems, and creative problem solving, I think, has always been a key to EFI's success, and now productivity software.
Thank you very much. It was fun talking to you.
Nice talking to you as well.